This magnificent part of Australia is named the real outback for a reason. Unique, a region rich in history, wide open lands that tell a multitude of stories. Just some words that come to mind when talking about Western Australia's northern goldfields. The Our Town team has been very lucky over the years to visit the goldfields many, many times. We absolutely love it up here. The region really brings you in and you can't help but get caught up in the magic of this place. So thanks for being with us as we feature the stories and the people of the northern goldfield towns of Leonora and Laverton. Leonora is located on the traditional lands of the Wongatha people, and for thousands of years before Europeans arrived here, the area in and around Leonora has been home to the First Nations people. Talbot Muir is a proud Leonora local. He's also an award-winning woodworker and a great storyteller. So Talbot, this is your old neighbourhood. You grew up around here. Tell me about your earliest memories of Gawler.
Would be probably the 1970s, mid-1970s. I remember coming out here with Dad and my older brother. We came out, there used to be an old train out here, close to where we are now, and we had fish and chips in there. So we spent the day just looking around the old houses, eating fish and chips in the back carriage of that old train, old Ken the train, which is now located at the museum in Gawler.
We're in one of the old prospectors' huts right now. Tell me about this place. These are so unique.
You know, the old miners that worked on the Gawler mine, they built all these huts. A lot of ethnic families, Greeks, Italians, Yugoslavs. When I was a kid, we actually lived in one of these huts. The hut's not here now, it got demolished back in the mid-1980s. But yeah, it's what you see here is what we used to live in, similar to this. Just corrugated tin, hessian walls, wooden floors, that sort of stuff. Yeah, very basic, and yeah, it was home though.
It's like a time machine in here. You step in, and people who come visit, you can just wander through most of these huts, can't you?
Yeah, there's probably about a dozen huts here that they're open to the public. Wander through. All the stuff you see in the buildings, they're the remnants that's left over from the mining era, the families that lived in here. And you probably can get a taste of how those families lived just by looking at the way the huts are set up now.
So tell us about these huts, because this isn't their original location. They've been moved, haven't they?
Yeah, back in the 1980s, mid-1980s, when the Gawler mine reopened again, a lot of these houses were streets down where the open pit is now. They had to relocate those to create the open pit. So all the houses were shifted and placed in this location where we are now to probably preserve and keep that history going.
So when the original occupants moved out and this became a ghost town, what happened then?
So all the houses were empty. There was only a few residents left here. There was a lot of Aboriginal families that lived on the outskirts of Leonora as fringe dwellers, as you call them, I suppose, and they decided to take up residence in a few of the houses out here, so it would have been about 4 or 5 different Aboriginal families living in the old houses. My family moved into one of the houses as well, and yeah, it was a different sort of lifestyle, just growing up with all the different kids out here.
So Talbot, this is home for you. What does this land mean to you?
Well, apart from just growing up here as a child and that, it also has its what we call dream time. So it's got our mythological history of the place. That's all part of one of our song lines that pass through this area. So it's very important to us.
And when you leave and you come back, what does that feel like?
It's really special. You know, it's a place of with the song lines, very significant, and it makes you feel like you've got some identity and belonging to that part of the country. And I always cherish the, looking at the environment here, and it's home to me. It always has been, and it always will be.
Gold was first discovered near Leonora over 120 years ago, in 1896 in fact, when prospectors moved through the area. By 1908, Leonora became the largest centre on the northeastern goldfields, with gold mining still operating today. One of the many reasons people visit and live around here is its reputation as a bit of a hotspot for fossicking and prospecting. And today we're lucky enough to get a bit of inside knowledge. And who knows, I reckon today might be my lucky day. We're heading bush with one of Leonora's locals. I can't tell you where we're going exactly, that's our little secret, but I have all my fingers and toes crossed. Chris, how did you end up in Leonora?
Basically, we were taking a trip, the wife and I, around Australia, a bit of a gold tour. WA was on our next point of agenda. So what we did was we booked in through a course. It was Gold Talk Leonora, and just never looked back from there. We ended up in staying in Leonora.
Okay, so you prospected other parts of Australia. What did you know about Leonora before you got here?
Absolutely nothing. Came into Leonora and did what most people do, stayed at the caravan park for a few weeks, sort of day tripped out, had a bit of a look at around the ground until we felt that we were right to camp out for a couple of weeks, and we took it from there.
There's a lot of land out here. How do you know where you can and can't go?
And so basically when you come into town, you can either do a course like we did, you can go to the mines department and they'll give you a fair bit of information, or you can jump on the net and have a look. And with the technology out there nowadays, like, you really can hone in where you really want to go.
Yeah, what time of day is best, do you reckon?
So it varies between sort of winter and summer.
Yeah.
So winter, of course, the sun's coming up a little bit later, but then summer you'll really want to beat the heat. So summer it's not silly to be out at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, just to beat the heat.
Wow.
And then you're home by lunchtime, sort of having a snooze. During winter, yeah, it's a beautiful temperature out here. So
you can go all day.
You can just go all day. You're just governed by the sun.
How do you celebrate when you find something?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. It depends. I guess it depends if you're by yourself or you're with other people, really.
You do a bit of a jig?
Yeah, you do a bit of a gold jig, especially the first couple of ones.
Yeah. What is it that you just love about doing this? What do you like the most?
What can't you? You're out the bush, the rain comes through, you see the green pop out, it's amazing, it comes to life. You light a fire and you sit back and yeah, life can't be too bad that way, can it?
Absolutely. So, $1 million question, have you had any big wins?
Yeah, I've done all right time to time, but Hans, there's no more gold left in Leonora.
Yeah, okay.
Leonora is a district high school. We try as much as possible to have hands-on, on-country learning, because I believe that a lot of our kids, that's how they learn. So we're always looking for alternative experiences for them. When I arrived, we had this lovely teacher, her name was Kat, and she was passionate about food and cooking, and she started the outside garden.
Whose idea was it to first get involved with the food ladder comp?
Our principal at the time, Bridget, she came across the food ladder competition, and it was open to all Australia, like it's Australia-wide. It was quite a large competition.
So then what happened? Like you won, and what happened from that moment?
Well, they rang us up and said we won the greenhouse, and so I was expecting, the little greenhouse. And then when I started reading it, there was solar, it has its own water system, so it actually runs on the same amount of water that we would use flushing the toilet twice. But it's been a real learning curve, and Food Ladder's been there right through the journey with us. We had the community come and helped us with the build, so it became a real community project. But the best thing is for the kids to see the difference. So they plant their seedlings, but then in 5 weeks they're harvesting. And that's one of their favourite things to do. They love to take it home to Mum and Dad and come back and tell you what Mum made with it, which is really good.
What does it feel like when you plant something and you come back in a couple of weeks and it's grown? What does that feel like?
It's a really good feeling because I know I've succeeded in doing it properly.
And have you eaten the food that you've grown? What does it taste like?
Yummy.
And what did you grow in your greenhouse?
Rocket, strawberries, lettuce.
What did you do with the rocket and the lettuce and stuff that you grew?
Take it home.
Yeah, for Mum and Dad?
Yes.
Yeah, did you have dinner with it?
Yes.
Cool.
confidence is one of the biggest things that the children are getting out of the whole experience, because they're getting to learn so much. These are skills they'll take into adulthood with them.
Just one of the reasons why Leonora is such a strong community and a great initiative by the school. But it's time for us to move on, not too far. Our next stop, Laverton.